welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books, and welcome to July. Take a look around. This is what July looks like. It's nice, isn't it, so far? 1st of July. And today's video, as always on the 1st of the month, is my TBR for the month. So this is my July TBR. However, it's a TBR with a bit of a twist. Because, guys, it only... Excuse me, I'm a bit worn out. I've just... my battery died. And I had to go get another one. And the act of that, in quite tight jeans, has really worn me out. This TBR has only got 4 books on it, because this month is going to be a month of reading vlogs. So instead of the sort of traditional reading wrap up that I do at the end of the month, you probably watched one yesterday, in fact, where I talk about all the books that I've read. I'm going to be reading and hauling and wrapping up my videos as I go. So every Sunday this month, apart from the coming Sunday, because that's going to be a book haul, there is going to be a reading vlog. So the second Sunday of the month, I'll be talking purely about this book that I'm about to show you, which is Jane Seymour, 6 Tudor Queens, Alison Weir's 6 Tudor Queens. This is the 3rd in the series. This is the Jane Seymour, The Haunted Queen one. So Henry VIII, 3rd wife, Jane Seymour, the only one he truly loved. That's from 6 the Musical. I've been, oh, there's my bookmark. I've been working my way through these 6 Tudor Queens books and doing vlogs of them. So I've already done Katherine of Aragon, I've done Anne Boleyn. I will link those down below. And in those vlogs, I read the book, discover more about these queens that I don't really know anything about, and also dress a bit like the queens from 6 the Musical, maybe do something else, watch a telly programme that involves the queens, learn a little bit more about them in another way, maybe read an additional book about these queens, etc. So I've been very much enjoying doing these, and my first reading vlog of the month is going to be me reading this. They're quite big chunky ones, and I very much enjoy that. They're all basically the same length. And I'm looking forward to finding out more about Jane, because I learned a little bit about Jane in both Katherine of Aragon and Anne Boleyn's books, because she appears in both of those books. But this is pure Jane. So that'll be the first reading vlog. Then the rest of the month, as I said, I've got 3 books here for the rest of the month. The rest of the month will be me... any books that come in the post from the publisher, or I think I've got a couple of pre-orders coming this month as well. Any books that come in on my library reservations, any books that come in on my audiobook Libby reservations. I'm going to be reading what's sort of coming to me, which is very, very nice. However, there are 3 books that I would like to get read, so I'll show you these now. So another video that I've made earlier this year is 5-star prediction books that I think are going to be 5 stars. I made a list of all of those. I think it was 7 books for one for each of the month of the year. I didn't read one in May. So the one I planned to read in May was Notes on an Execution by Dania Kukufka, and I would like to read that this month. So that will be getting read. And then the one that I read for June was Persuasion. And then this, The Office of Historical Corrections by Danielle Evans, is what I plan to read in June, but maybe not this copy, because I've got a reservation on the audiobook from Libby. It's got a 2-week wait. I've got 2 weeks of waiting left. So I imagine I might even do both. I might read a little bit, because I think they're short stories and a novella. I might read one, listen to one, see how I get on. But yeah, so those 2 off of my 5-star prediction list. And then the last thing is my Patreon book club. I should tell you what these are about, really. So this is about a man called Ansel Packer, who's scheduled to die in 12 hours. And he is a murderer. He murdered women many years ago, and he's been found. But this isn't about him. It says here, but this is not his story. As the clock ticks down, 3 women uncover the history of a tragedy and the long shadow it casts. Lavender, Ansel's mother, is a 17-year-old girl pushed to desperation. Hazel, twin sister to his wife, is forced to watch helplessly as the relationship threatens to devour them all. And Safi, the detective hot on his trail, is devoted to bringing bad men to justice, but struggling to see her own life clearly. This is the story of the women left behind. It sounds really, really interesting, and I'm sure when I've hauled this, I bought this for £1, by the way, from the desk at my the charity desk at work. I mentioned that I'd heard it discussed on What Page Are You On podcast, and I also, I think it was Chloe Timms, I follow her on Instagram. She's author of a fantastic book that I'm halfway through reading called The Sea Women. She said this was one of the best books she read this year. I'm sure it was Chloe that said that, but yeah, so I've heard good things about it. And then the Office of Historical Corrections, as I said, is a short story collection with a novella. I think the Office of Historical Corrections is the novella within it. It says, we meet black and multiracial characters who experience the universal confusions of lust and love and getting walloped by grief, all while exploring how history haunts us personally and collectively. Ultimately, these stories provoke us to think about the truths of American history, about who gets to tell them and the cost of setting the record straight. And then it just gives a little insight into some of these stories. So in Boys Go to Jupiter, a white college student tries to reinvent herself after a photo of her in a Confederate flag bikini goes viral. I'm sure that is the opening. I'm sure when I watched, oh my god, what's that TV programme that's about like a sort of fictional, The Bachelor? I can never think what it's called. I can't think what it's called, but it's very good. But I'm sure that's the opening scene of that. In Richard of York Gave Battle in Vain, a photojournalist is forced to confront her own losses while attending to an old friend's unexpectedly dramatic wedding. And in the eye-opening title novella, as I said, a black scholar from Washington, D.C. is drawn into a complex historical mystery that spans generations and puts her job, her love life and her oldest friends at risk. There you go. So I'm excited about that. So those. And then the last book, as I said, is going to be for my Patreon book club. And we're reading Do Not Say We Have Nothing by Madeleine TM. The genre for July was family history saga. I think it was Chinese history family sagas, and this was on the vote, as well as Peach Blossom Spring by Melissa Liu and Fu, sorry, and this one. So this, I remember this getting an awful lot of hype on BookTube a couple of years ago, and I've owned it for a long time and been meaning to read it. It came out in 2016. So it says here, in Canada in 1990, 10-year-old Marie and her mother invite a guest into their home, a young woman who has fled China in the aftermath of the Tiananmen Square protests. Her name is A Ming. As her relationships with Marie deepens, A Ming tells the story of her family in revolutionary China, from the crowded tea houses in the first days of Chairman Mao's ascent to the Shanghai Conservatory in the 1960s and the events leading to the Beijing demonstrations of 1989. It is a history of revolutionary idealism, music and silence, in which three musicians, the shy and brilliant composer Sparrow, the violin prodigy Zuli, and the enigmatic pianist Kai struggled during China's relentless cultural revolution to remain loyal to one another and to the music they have devoted their lives to. Forced to reimagine their artistic and private selves, their fates reverberate through the years with the deep and lasting consequences for A Ming and for Marie. So yeah, it sounds amazing and can't wait to read it, really. I know little to nothing about Chinese history, so that'll be very, very interesting indeed. So there we go. Those are the 4 books that I have on my my TBR for the month of July. Obviously there's going to be more books read. Say obviously. I mean, I normally read about sort of 10 to 12, sometimes 15 books a month, so I'll be reading more than this, I imagine. But yeah, tune into the reading vlogs that are going to be going up for the rest of the month. As I said, the first one will be my Jane Seymour reading vlog, but after that it will just be the reading vlogs of the month, what's been coming in the post from the publisher, any pre-orders, stuff that's coming in at the library or my Libby app, and just reading sort of as it arrives, which is very fresh and exciting, isn't it? So that's that for me, and I'll see you all again Sunday for a book haul. See you then. Bye!